Hello everybody, welcome back to the Long Way YouTube channel. My name is Bucky, and today we're going to be getting back to work on the 5-ton crew pack build. It's been a while since we got to work on it due to the weather and waiting on some tools, but we're back at it today. And the last episode you guys saw us get the skins and the tops and the handles put in. So we're going to get busy today to see if we can get the cop on this thing and get it out of the shop. So stay tuned. Cab here, cab tweaks tonight. Alright, so what we're trying to do is figure out what we're going to do at the top. I have the original cab here, cab piece tonight. When you set it on and line everything up, we have a little bit of a problem over here. It ain't lining up like they're supposed to. Issue right here with that not wanting to line up right. It's off by about 1/8 of an inch. And then the other side's pretty close, but then it kind of comes in here. This is where the other cab turned in. This cab's going to have to turn out. So that's where most of the butt scratching's been coming in, is trying to figure out how we're going to make this look right once we turn it out. So I think what I've figured we're going to do is we're going to cut this piece here out, this bottom trim piece out, put a new trim piece in, and then we can extend this out and make it match however we want it to match here. So I think that's what we're going to do, is just take and cut the skins out there and then put in whatever pieces we need to put into that 1 inch to make it solid. And this will all be welded on. It won't be removable anymore. So that's kind of what we're going to be working on today, is how to get this bottom piece done. And then that way we can transition to the original top piece. So here we go. I'm going to catch you guys up on what we're doing. We've drilled out, this is the original short piece of the cab. And I've drilled out all the welds so that I can put the new piece in and stretch it. It's going to look like this when we're done. This is the top piece here. This is where I pulled it off. These are all the spot welds. Then I'm going to put my new piece in here that we put on the top of the cab skins. Then we're going to reuse this. Everywhere you have one of these vertical struts, we'll have a 1 inch piece going up to tie it into the top. And that's how we're going to tie everything together. So we're going to get that bottom piece pulled out, and then we got another piece to make for the bottom of the skin, and I'll show you guys what that looks like when we put it on. But I want to bring you guys in and show you what it looks like to drill these spot welds out. I'm going to drill them all out, and I'm taking a air hammer chisel and chisel them all out. So I'll show you guys what that looks like, and then we'll get after getting that cap put on.
Y'all ain't nothing but whole lot of shit.
So we're at the point of no return now. We're fixing to cut the cab in half, or the top of the cab in half. That way we can get it stretched and widened to fit on the base that we've made. So I want to show you guys what this looks like before I get it cut in half. I kind of drew some lines, and I made myself a little extra room here so we can fudge it out. But this is where the top's going to be, where we're going to break out the other piece, and I fudged a little bit over here. So I'm going to get that cut in half, and then we're going to set it up on top and see what it looks like. Alright, so we got the top on it. Very happy to be to this point. It's going to be kind of a unique build to get this angle piece put in, because we're kind of having to go from a piece that turns in to a piece that squares off. So really happy to be at this point. Now it's going to start raining, so when you guys come back, we'll be working on that. All right, everybody, I want to show you guys kind of what I've been doing. I've been off camera doing a little bit of work, so I want to show you these doors aren't shutting quite like I'd like them to. So this one here obviously needs to come forward quite a bit, but the hinges are all messed up. So this one here was really far out, and I worked on it yesterday and got it to where it needed to be. All the door jambs are really nice, and it opens and closes really nice. Unfortunately, these door pins are what I like to call unobtainium, or they're impossible to get because they're a bastard size. So here's what they look like, and they go on there. This one here is destroyed. I had to drill it out. That one there is stuck. I'm probably gonna have to drill it out. So I wanted to show you guys kind of what I've done to offset that. A standard bolt is entirely too big or entirely too small, but a metric bolt works out pretty good. So I was able to take one of these, turn it into one of those over here at the lathe. I'm going to go ahead and make me 3 more of them and take you guys along so you can see kind of what it looks like. Here we go. In case you're wondering, OD for a quarter 20 thread pitch is 7 mil. And that's what we have here, 7 mil. So I'll show you what the other half of this little program looks like. First things first, we need to make sure it fits. That fits in there nice and tight, like it's supposed to. Then somehow we got to get a quarter 20 thread on there. Don't know how in the world we're going to do that. Oh, with our handy dandy quarter 20 die here. Here we go. 2 of them made. Time to get the doors back on. Alright guys, one other thing I wanted to show you was how to adjust these door hinges. Like right now, those front doors need to come forward. Right now, those front doors need to come forward about quarter to an eighth of an inch. So we have to adjust these in order to get them that way. So what that looks like is they have this profile to them like this, and if you need to move the door forward, since this here is the front of the hinge, if we want to move the door forward, we have to flatten that out. That little whoop in there, we're going to flatten it out. So take an angle finder, and that's your original angle with this angle finder, and I'm wanting to drop it by about 1/8 of an inch. So 1/8 of an inch across the 3-foot door should give us our quarter. So that's what I'm going to do here. So we're going to set this in here like this, upside down, and we don't want to put it just in the middle, so I've got this piece of thicker stuff here we're going to use, and we will use it to press it out. what did that say? One more time, just a little bit more. Okay. So normally when it breaks in half, you got to make another one. I really had to put some grunt on that one. Yep, that'll do. That little bit of difference. Should put that door right about where we want it to be. You can see the difference between here and here. Alrighty. One more time. That one's bending a lot easier. Gotta be careful. I don't know why this one's so hard and that one's not. Let's see what we got here. Yep, they're identical. So, here we go. And that's how you adjust the hinges on a military truck. Well, now that we got the doors started, all nice and tuned up to where they shut good, now we know where these window frames are going to land, and that's how we're going to set our frames so that they're level with the window jambs. So we've got a good starting point here. Sorry for the light. We got a good starting point there, and we know where we're going to end over here. Now I'm still going to have to do a little bit of manipulation to that, but right now where we're going to start is we're going to put this bend that's in here, because this goes smaller this way. We're going to put that bend in that piece of metal up top there. So we're going to mark it, measure it, cut it, bend it out, and then we can address how it fits here, because that's not quite right. We'll get that addressed once we know where the center points are. We'll get that set down, and then that's what we'll start with. We'll build off of that down to here, and then down to there. We'll build all of that in. So that's what we're going to do now. So here we go. All right, we got this bad boy in there. What we're going to do is we're going to line this up. We're going to draw a line on the back side of this right here, so we can see where that break point is. So what I normally do, there's all different kinds of ways to do it. The easiest thing for me to do is to line up the back side of this till you can't see it anymore. It makes a perfect line, and draw your line right there. Like I said, there's 19 different ways to do it. If you wanted to do it with a straight edge, you could do that too. Let me just do that so you guys aren't guessing. I have a calibrated eye, so what we're going to do now is we're going to line this up here like this. We're going to make a line right there. All I did was flatten it up off of this plane, draw a line. So that's where our line's going to be, and I'll just validate it with my eyeball, and yep, that's it. So what we're going to do is take this line and we're going to pie cut the back side of this that way and that way, so that it'll pull out. It'll be perfectly flush this way, and it'll be turned in this way, so that we'll get that taper on the inside. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to draw a line down the back side so we know what our level is, and then we're going to pie cut out enough to pull it in. So hang on, here we go. Alright, so I've got to take another cut because it's not going out far enough to catch the middle. So here's what we're looking at. We've got to get this bar out here to where this is in the middle of this. Same right here. This needs to be in the middle of this. So we're going to keep taking bites out of this and make this bend out until that's in the middle of that, and this is in the middle of this. So this right here, that little gap right there that I'm opening and closing, that's what we're setting the angle of the cab with. Now we're touching, get up there. here in a minute. Here we're touching right there, and we're touching right back here. So we notch all that in right there. Now we come over here and we look at this, and we are pretty daggone close to in the middle on both sides. So if I push it back out, that's where it needs to be. Whenever I hold this thing over where it needs to be, see how that's perfect, dead line, right in line with the window? That's what we're looking for. So what we're going to do is hold this right here. We're going to fill that gap in with weld, and then we're going to get this piece set in so we can start building the rest. Well, that's what our cut's going to look like. I know it probably looks like you can't read any of it, but it's got quite a little bit of intricacy to be able to get fit up in there. So that's what the cut's going to look like. I'm going to get started cutting on it. That's pretty close. Off by a whisker. It'll be off by a whisker at a time, I'll tell you. Alright, so we're at my little makeshift table here, and this is basically the window. We're going to put a window in, but this is where we're going to pick off these window trim pieces here. So you got to make sure you put in for these. These are 3/8 of an inch. I left myself 1/8 of an inch of wiggle room on both sides. These are going to go just like this on there. So I'm going to go ahead and tack these in and put them in place and make sure everything fits before I fully weld it in. But I want to show you guys, you got to really begin with the end in mind, because you mess this up, you mess this thing up, you're going to be starting all over again. So we're going to get these tacked in, get them square as possible, and we'll set them up there and see what they look like. I forgot the taper. Jeez. I want to kind of explain to you guys where we're at here. I forgot to put the taper in. You guys can see up here, we have a taper here where we cut that out. I forgot to put that here. We're going to have to put that here to make it match. Also, I'm going to have to open these up just a little bit because that gap's not quite like I want it. You guys can see it's a little bit off. So I'm going to open that up so we can be a little more custom. And it's not going to be perfectly level, but it is going to match the windows. So at the end of the day, you want to be able to look at it and have it make sense. And if it's perfectly level but it looks unlevel, what's the point? So we're going to do a little bit of fine tuning here, and when I get done, when I come back, it should look a lot better. All right, I'm going to show you guys what we're working with here. This is the back side, and this is the front. So we cut that notch in there so we can put the taper in. I busted the front tacks loose on both sides of these, and I cut a little bit of that off so that I can get these to look perfect. So this is what it looks like before we tack it together. Then I'll show you what it looks like once we get it up up where it's supposed to be and show you how much better it looks now that it has a taper in it. So, hang on a minute. What? Did y'all hear something? I didn't hear nothing. Alright, so this is where we're at. I've got this all kind of tacked up. Only thing I had, it was 1/2 inch with a thick old piece of steel. But we've got our 1/2 inch gap on the window over here, which is going to help us once we get that set in there with our window seals. So that's what that's going to look like. I've got it all tacked where it needs to be. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out and fully weld it, and then I'm going to come back up here and get it fully fitted and put on there. But that's what it's going to look like. I'm debating whether or not I want to put a window in here. That way I don't have a blind spot. But I'm just going to see what that looks like. I don't know yet. But for right now, we're going to get this part framed in. But I'm going to pull this off, weld it all the way up, and then when I come back, we'll be ready to weld the tops in and get it put in for good. So, oh, I'm so happy to be finally moving on this top. So, stay tuned. All right, so here's where we ended up. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. We've got the piece cut. I'm going to put a center piece in. I don't know that I still don't know if I'm going to put a window in there or not, but we have a 1/2 inch gap there all the way up, perfectly flush here, perfectly flush up here, and we have our 1/2 inch gap over here. Now what that 1/2 inch gap is for this piece of weather stripping, and we'll have to figure out how to get it replaced, but it sits right in that hole right there, and well, it just all fell apart. But as you can see, you slide it up there and bolt it in once you get both pieces on there, and it will do your weather stripping for you. So once we get the other piece on there, it'll look a little bit better, but that's what we're doing. So I got this thing cut to length. I went ahead and measured where that center piece is going to go for the taper. Got it cut in there. I'm going to set it in here. Oh, another thing, I put an angle on the end so it's set better against the windshield. So here still, crooked ways out. Take another bite off of it. All right, I've got these all kind of fit in, ready to be tacked in, and we're going to go ahead and, or actually they're ready to be welded in. We're going to go ahead and get these parts done, and then we'll move on to the back. But right now I'm going to go ahead and weld this up, and then yeah, this is this is starting to get done. I'm pretty happy about it. Pretty happy about it. Hey, that of the sides welded in. Is it? Yeah. I'm fixing to have this one done. Alright guys, so now that we've got the door frames done and the window jambs kind of put in, we need to get that back piece that we added on squared away. And here's the piece that did go for the around the back of the cab, and then this is where the window trim sets in. So we had to do something kind of creative. I made this one while we were off camera. This is the one for the driver's side. It's got the bend in it to come around the cab, but I had to go from 1 inch to 2 inch here, and I like my 45s to be like that. That way we don't have dead ends. I like to have 45s, and then this is the right height for the piece coming across the top, and this is where we'll drill the holes to put the window trim in. So I made this one off camera, and I'm probably going to make the other one so you guys can see it. This piece here is 20 inches, and then we bent this piece to go around the cab, and then we've got to cut a piece of 2-inch out to take this piece of 1-inch in there and make this piece. So I'm going to take you guys over and show you what it looks like. Again, everything is 10 feet in the air. This is where it's going to fit. So we make sure we're lined up there. And then we've got this piece here. See if I can get where you guys can see that. That piece goes right up in there. So we'll have to put a clamp on it to pull it down, but it sits right up against that. And then that leaves us with enough room to set this ledge. And then put the door shut. We have the 1/4-inch gap here, and then we have the 3/8 gap here that will make perfect. We'll make it perfect once we get started tacking it in. So that's what we'll do next. We'll go ahead and get it tacked in, but it's nice having that piece done. We'll make the one on the other side, and then we can start putting the top rails on. So here we go. Well, some of them are nice and pretty, and some of them are not. But it is in, and it is welded, and it is friggin' strong. Them window jams ain't going nowhere. So I think we're gonna quit for the night. We'll come back tomorrow, we'll do that other side. All right, everybody, this is what we're starting with. This is the original bent piece that matches the back of the cab. And I notched a piece out. We're going to fill all that in. This right here is what's going to set against the cab like this. So we go around here, and then we'll 45 this piece here with the 19-inch piece that goes up above. So this is what it looks like in the raw state. I'll come back whenever I get it prettied up a little bit. All right, so we got the second side done. This is the one that goes on the passenger side. We've got it cut. We got our same piece made. I just got it all welded in. It's all nice and solid and ground down. We've got our 45 in there, and we're ready to get this one mounted on the contact. So I'm going to set these pieces in. I'm going to tack weld them. Then I'm going to pull it off and weld it all the way in, and then fight with it to get it back in. So here we go. All right, everybody, as usual, it took entirely too long to get this back piece built, but we've got it built. I want to kind of go show you guys what it looks like and how we've got it done before we move on to bending the top pieces and getting them set. But I wanted to show you guys, you know, we went through the door frames, got them all leveled up, and then we've got a really funky transition here from this 2-inch piece down inside to this 1-inch piece across the back. And then I wanted some support vertically, so I've got this 1-inch piece tapped in all the way to the bottom. I had to cut those out and weld them straight to the cap so we'd have some strength. I went ahead and went with a 2-inch piece here, a 1x2, so that we could tie it into this window frame here all the way down. So that gives that good strength. And then of course we got it all the way across, another 1x2 there in that window frame, and then coming back over here and tying back into this. I know it probably looks pretty ugly, but it's very strong. We're not trying to win any beauty contests here. We're just trying to make sure that the roof don't blow off when we're going down the highway, and we want to have some strength in case we want to put, we always going down to the creek, so we always have a lot of people, so it'd be nice to be able to put the floats and the fishing poles up here. So I'm going to come up with a way to do that as we move along here. But this is kind of a pivotal moment in the whole build, as this is really the hardest part. I mean, I keep saying that this is the hardest part, but whatever I'm doing, but this right here took a good 6 hours to get everything straight and bent. And I've got a pile of bent pieces over there by the chop saw where I just kept making mistakes. So luckily I had plenty of metal. All right, so next thing you guys see, we'll be getting the top put up here after we cut the support off of it to get an idea for what the pieces need to be bent to. So moving on. Put a big ass cedar pipe on it. See what we got here.